There comes a time in every woman's life where they ask themselves, do I value myself? So you are settling for less than you deserve, saying yes when you mean no, or waiting for something outside of you to finally make yourself feel worthy. And that's when you realize the standards that you say that you have are not reflecting in your lifestyle. For the longest time, I did not value myself in the way that I thought I did until I did these 5 things. Let's get one thing straight. Your standards are reflected in the types of situations that you put yourself through. And I don't want to hear, oh, but I didn't really put myself through that. Suddenly we're acting like we don't have free will. Yes, you put yourself in that situation. And this isn't even just about relationships. I'm talking about like the rooms you stay in, the environments that you tolerate. Can you say with your whole heart that you don't put yourself in those situations? Even the opportunities that you don't go after because you've somehow convinced yourself that you're not worthy of them. For a very long time in my life, I really thought I had high standards. But here's the thing, standards aren't communicated in what you say. They're communicated in what you consistently allow in your life. Inside your brain, you have something called the reticular activating system, which is basically a fancy way of saying that your brain filters for what's important. The people you stay around, the environments you tolerate, and all the situations you accept, your brain is literally scanning for them. If you keep saying, I want abundance, I want high energy friends, I want amazing opportunities, but you keep tolerating low energy spaces, you are quite literally training your mind to accept what you allow. So anytime that you're in a situation that you don't like, you need to remember that it's extremely empowering to know that the power is within you. The attention is within you. I have seen so many people in this life claim to love themselves, claim to have self-worth. Self-worth isn't about what you look. Yes, it's important. Yes, we like to take care of ourselves. But if you're one of those people that only cares about how you look and not the types of situations you let your body internalize, that is where you're losing. If you don't take the time to define who you are, the people around you will decide for you. And even worse, they will tell it to you like it's a fact. Your family will label you. Your friends will keep an old version of you in their minds. If you're not careful, you start living inside those identities that everyone's trying to label you with. Labels such as the shy one, the weird one, the one who starts things but never finishes them. The worst part is after you stop questioning it, even on a subconscious level, you almost start performing those labels. Self-worth begins to literally suffer when you start performing roles that you didn't consciously choose. I've said this multiple times, your brain does not care what is good for you. Your brain cares about what's familiar. And if those labels feel entirely familiar to you, that is what it's going to do. One of the biggest things that actually kept my self-worth pretty low is the idea of external validation. External validation is a myth. There is no actual validation that you can get externally. It's not a thing. When you look at others for approval or compliments, just any form of acceptance, you're not actually looking at them for it. You're looking at them because something in you is telling you this situation or this person represents a feeling of validation that you are lacking within your internal world. Your worth cannot rise and fall based on other people or the external world. One thing I want you to understand in life is that the human opinion is very fickle. One minute they love you, one minute they hate you. One minute you're obnoxious, another minute you're confident. Sometimes in this world, there is nothing you can do. There's always going to be an issue with something you've done. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to pretend like I'm God. I understand what it's like to get external validation, but let's take the modern day compliment. Everyone loves getting compliments. I love giving them. I love receiving them. I'm literally a Leo. There is nothing more than I love. But if you keep getting overly excited when you're complimented, you are equally going to be just as more disappointed when you don't receive that compliment or you get an insult. So in life, don't get me wrong, I love a good compliment. I'm not saying that I don't. You can't keep rising every time someone compliments you. You can't keep falling every time someone insults you. You need to have an energy barrier around you that is so strong and so self-validating. If someone compliments the way you look or the way you did something, great, we all love that. But equally, give it to yourself first. Anything that you look outside of you for, give it to yourself first. If you're the type of person to go through something and immediately need external opinions or advice, ask yourself first. Build that self-trust with yourself. You cannot build self-worth in the same environment that you broke it in. If you keep staying in the environments that broke you, you will always be in survival mode. Your nervous system will not see it safe and you're always going to be in defense mode. I understand it. It might be family members, it might be your boss, you might still have to live at home, you might be tied to certain dynamics now, But this isn't about just being in the environment. Even though you can't physically leave yet, you need to psychologically detach. You need to be able to create private routines that strengthen you and also not internalize everyone's opinion. One of the things that really helped me was building an identity outside of the space that I was in. And this actually helps you, just even on a quantum level, evolve and move on to another situation and make sure that you are no longer an energetic match for the environment that you are in. Start exposing yourself to rooms where the version of yourself that you're becoming feels normal. And slowly, even before your environment changes, your internal world does. And that is how you manifest anything in this life. External reality is not a result. It is a byproduct of your internal reality. And the last thing I will say is this: you need to carry yourself through this world as the version of yourself that you've always known you can be. I grew up always being the ugly kid at school. I was bullied, I didn't look that feminine, I didn't have makeup on, I didn't like wearing a skirt. Genuinely, all of these things have built me into the person I am today. And trust me, if you are at the point of your life where you're not feeling great about yourself, or to even put it quite bluntly, you feel pretty shit about yourself, you cannot walk through this world any longer and let other people's voices get into your own head. As someone who would do this religiously, trust me when I say, one day you will be able to look back and be so incredibly proud of yourself at how far you have come. Please remember, you don't need to change who you are. You do not need to change who you are inherently to be worthy. I used to think if I didn't act a certain way, speak a certain way, dress a certain way, that I could never be seen as worthy. I would always be living up to other people's standards of me, expectations. I've literally spent half of my life living at the mercy of other people. Just please remember, wherever you are at your journey of self-worth, we're not all perfect, but we're always on the journey of becoming our best self. And that includes the version of yourself now. The version of yourself now deserves even more love than the version you're going to become. That's how serious this is. If it wasn't for the version of myself that actually went through all the shadow work, I would not be able to have the opportunities that I do now. I only have this one life as you. So spend your time and energy wisely. Bye guys.